Hello everybody. We're going to make a mosaic pot. Here's one I made earlier. Little pot decorated with these little mosaic squares. It's really rather pretty, I thought. And that sits here. And I made it to put the paper flowers I made in a previous video. So if you want to have a go at making the paper flowers, they look just like these. Okay, which was very good fun. So if you want to find out how to make paper flower, have a look, see if you can find the paper flower video. You can make your paper flowers first, or you can make the pot first. It's up to you. I made one in the video and then had a bit of spare time, so I made two and then another one. So I've got like a bunch of paper flowers, which I thought looked really rather splendid in a bunch. And then I thought how to display them. So I've made a little pot. So push them firmly into this little pot. It's a very good way of displaying your paper flowers. Okay, so first step to making your little mosaic pot is to take a big Christmas. Well, so basically, I'm using up Christmas cards. Forgot to say that. Using up all these old Christmas cards I had left over. Instead of putting them straight away into the recycling bin, I thought, what can I do with these? So I had the idea of making some things out of the old Christmas cards. So for this you need quite a big Christmas card like this one. Okay, so the bigger the better. And you need to cut the picture off and cut the back off. This is the bit that people write on, and then cut it in half long ways. Okay, so just fold it in half and cut it in half, and that's going to be the basis of your pot. Okay. So we'll just put that to one side. Then you need the front, the picture bit of the Christmas card. Now I've got several to choose from here, and what you really want is two that have got contrasting colours. Contrasting means different from each other. So I thought these are a very good example. This one's got lots of blue on it, and this one is sort of white with red and green patterns on it. So when we cut them up into squares, we're going to have two different kinds of colours. So open up the Christmas card, cut it down the middle, and down the middle. Do that with your other Christmas card. Move these bits out of the way. So you end up with, well, that's your basis. Make sure. So we've got two cards of different colours. So now we're just going to cut our Christmas card. I'm going to take that white bit off because I don't want the white bit, I just want the blue bits. So what we really need to do is cut them in nice thin strips. This is very easy mosaic. Very, very easy to do. But hopefully you'll find it lots and lots of fun. So the Christmas card, you end up with lots and lots of thin strips. Okay. Now when you've got the thin strips, what we now need to do is to cut the thin strips into little squares. I don't really want to be any bigger than that. I'll show you that little tiny square. So they've got to be quite small squares. And also you need to try and make them about the same size. Let me do this over here so you can see it. Got a bit of a bumpy table, it's a bit tricky. If you can see, I'm cutting the strip to the same size squares. You want to keep on doing that with all of your strips until you've got a good pile of little tiny squares. Basically, the smaller the squares, the better the pattern's going to be. Also make it easier to do the curling round bit. Okay, so that's enough of that one, just to show you what I mean. So I've now got a nice pile of blue bits here. Now let's find my other colour, this is white, red and green bits. Again, cut it into strips. And then start cutting your strips into little squares. So I'm going to put my blue pile over here. And my green, red and white pile here. I think it's going to look splendid, this mosaic. It's also a very good way of using up your old Christmas cards instead of just putting them in the recycling. Okay, so we've ended up with a little pile of blue bits. There, so you can see that, a little pile of blue bits and a little pile of green and red bits. So let's get lower part of the back of the card, if you remember. Ready? So, trusty glue. Get your glue ready. And I get the pot I've done already back. I've arranged them in different stripes. So I quite like, so I think I'm going to do them in long stripes on my piece of card. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You could do them in vertical stripes if you wanted to. Or you could get really fancy and you could do a sort of a zigzag pattern. It's completely up to you. But let's start with the white and red pattern. So, a bit of glue on one of the squares. Stick it right in the corner, just like that. Okay. And we're just going to work our way along with the same colour all the way along. It's a very gentle, quiet sort of exercise this is. Very good. If you're feeling a little bit stressed or anxious about anything, this is a very good exercise. Stops you thinking about your troubles. Focuses your mind on what you're doing in the here and now. It's a kind of meditation, an exercise like this. Which is doubly good, because not only is it fun and good for you to do it, you end up with something that's beautiful. You could maybe give as a present, give to somebody you like. One last square on the end here. Remembering I should have said earlier, you must make sure you put enough glue on the little squares, otherwise you just ping off and that's boring. So we end up with a strip of coloured squares. So my next, I'm going to go to my blue pile now. Here we are, there's a blue square, and that's going on underneath. Okay, that's looking really good. I'm really enjoying the contrast of the two colours. What you might notice with some of your Christmas cards are the kind of glittery, shiny bits on them as well, which you can really have fun with. If you've got any old Christmas cards like that, that'll be really good. I have just thought, should have said this at the beginning, it doesn't have to be Christmas cards. So if you've already thrown your Christmas cards out, you could think, oh, I haven't got any Christmas cards, can't do mosaic, but you can. You could do this with any coloured paper or pictures from magazines, anything you fancy really. So I'm very nearly there at the end of my blue line. It's looking really good. Very peaceful, calming sort of activity. Nobody can ask you to go off and do the washing up, tidying up when you're doing things like this. Say, no, I'm busy doing my mosaic. There we go. So I'm going to leave it at that, just to show you the general idea. Stop going on my glue properly. So we've got two lovely stripes of different colours. Okay, so obviously you've got much more time than I have. Oops. And you just keep on going till you get all the way. You've covered the whole of your cardboard in little squares. And it ends up with, here's what I did earlier. Okay, so two contrasting colours. You can see that. We've got the darker blue colours and this kind of whitey, spotty Christmas card. Okay, so now we're ready to do the really, really simple finishing up bit, which is just to curve it round in a cylinder. Gently curve it round on your fingers. Now, don't worry if some of the pictures start pinging off, because we can always stick those back on again. Okay, but this is why you need lots of extra glue. Grab some sellotape, which I've already got ready here. And tape across the top of your cylinder. And holding it very tightly across the bottom as well. So some of my squares are starting to ping off, but I can just put extra glue on them and they'll be fine. And one last piece of tape all the way along the join, just to make sure it's really joined well. And there you end up with a little mosaic pot. So I'm hoping you're liking the look of that. I might have a go at putting my paper flowers in my new pot. I think they look just as good. Let's just squeeze them in there. It's a little bit wobbly, just balance everything out. There we are. Enjoy making a mosaic pot, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye for now.